This is my first video. This is going to be me getting ready while speaking about some books. I've got my current reads and my thoughts on them, and the next like 3 books that I would like to also read whilst the month of February is ongoing. But thank you for clicking on this video, and hopefully you stick around for the rest. Thank you. I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna talk about some books, maybe me, I don't know. I feel like I need to just do this and see where it goes, but that's okay. But I'm using the Bioma Milky Toner. I think I'm starting this because I've always really enjoyed watching these, especially like growing up. Maybe not like always book related, but like definitely like little like life vlogs and little things of like hang out with me, and I don't know, I've always felt them really comforting. So I thought I'd give it a go. It's a bit scary, but I guess you live and you learn from things, and if that doesn't go anywhere, that's okay. I might look at this back and hate everything about it and just delete it. But I'm going in with Road Barrier Restore Cream. Yeah. But I'm Arianna. I'm 20, turning 21 this year. And I recently started a TikTok account for books and talking about books, because I've always really loved reading since I was little. I've like gone in and out of phases, and I feel like that's normal, but yeah, I'm like just started documenting it and just doing little silly videos here and there, and it's fortunately gone in my way, which is scary because, you know, you've got loads of people like watching you and you've got to just kind of do it, otherwise I don't know, I guess you're just meant to do it. If you feel like it, do it. I feel that's the whole point of social media. I feel like people keep focusing on like picture perfect, making sure everything's like gonna get views and stuff, and don't get me wrong, like I do the same, but I think sometimes it's also good just to do it, get it out there, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and if it does, that's great. But I just use the Bioma Blemish moisturizer. Which I think that's pretty much for skincare. I'm gonna use the Road Glazing, is it Glazing Mist? Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to talk about some books and what I'm currently reading. I am currently reading My Friends by Frederick Backman, and also listening to Project Hail Mary, as obviously the film's coming out at the end of this month, and I wanted to read it so I can go and watch it. And it's been on my to read list for a very long time anyways, and this is kind of like just giving me that push to listen to it. I did try reading it, and sometimes I do read it, but I find it a lot easier to understand when I'm listening to it. It feels a lot more manageable, especially with all the like science and technical terms. But I've been really enjoying that. I'm not very far along. I think I'm only on chapter 9, but they're quite long chapters, so I think I'm like a third way in-ish, and it's been really good. This is the Kylie Skin Tint in 2.5, but it's been really good. and I'm really enjoying it, and I've been reading my friends. I have not really heard of Frederick Backman, but maybe that's more of a me era. But I've like, for the last like 6 months, I've been watching Sarah Caroli on YouTube, and she loves it. Loves anything by him. I think she's like read like Beartown as well, so she's really quite a big fan. And I thought, I don't usually read, like, I think it's a contemporary fiction, and I usually just kind of stick to what I know with like fantasy and just romance, because I feel like once you stick to a genre, it's quite hard to like come out of it. And my one goal this year was to like push myself out with my choices and like what I'm reading. And I think that it's definitely like helped in some ways, even though sometimes I still like, I can't pick up the book even though I'm enjoying it, but I think that that's pretty normal, hopefully. But I'm now using the Kylie Cosmetics concealer in also 5N. But I really enjoyed his writing style, and I think it's very like comforting but also very sad, and I think he like focuses really well on like nostalgia and like remembering people. I think the way that he writes is really fascinating, and I'm finding it really nice to read when I come back from work or whenever I have a day off. Whereas with like listening to Project Hail Mary, I've been mainly doing that when I'm out and about, before work, after work, in the car, or when we're shopping or doing anything like that. But I've really enjoyed it. My boyfriend's read it already, so he's very happy at the fact that he's read something before me, which I need to finish it so we can talk about it, because I don't know how long he can hold his like tongue back. Is that the saying? But yeah, I've mainly read fantasy. I've read a lot of different fantasies. I read Fourth Wing was one of the ones that like kind of got me back into reading after like a really long time of feeling like nothing was exciting me, because I was like pretty much just reading romance up until that point. Honestly, I couldn't recommend it anymore. I think it's like, I would say it's a good beginner fantasy. I feel like the world building isn't too complex, and I think that the plots are also quite easy to follow. I mean, obviously aside from like some bits that are like, oh, I don't like know how to imagine that or how to like picture that in my head, but I think aside from that, it is quite a good place to start. Just use down one. It's in 105 natural ivory, but now I'm gonna go in with the number 7 bronzing, like I guess butter. But I have recently read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and I thought that that was, I saw somebody on TikTok read it, and then having her watch some of Sarah's like recent things, I think she's talked about it and how she read it, and I was heavily influenced, and so I got it given to me for Christmas, and I read the first one, and then I immediately ordered myself the second one because there was just something about the world that felt very different. I think there's a lot of like similar sort of topics and a lot of fantasy worlds and books that people have written and created, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's like very comforting, especially when you need it. But I think I got in a place where I was reading so many fantasy books that it all kind of felt like they were all merging together. So I wanted to push the boat out a little bit and read something that I knew that I guess I wouldn't know what happened next. But that's the like writing's gone, but it's the rare beauty in bliss. But yeah, I picked it up and I couldn't put it down. I think I still think about it to this day, and I think that the way it was written and the way like the second book, even though obviously is a continuation from the first one, it still had like a different plot line to, like, not completely, but it had like subplots of different characters. And I think that even though that's quite common, I think the way that it was done, it was really, really satisfying, and I felt like everything made sense. In this duology, there's a lot of different POVs, and usually I can find that a bit confusing, especially when, like, you know, you finally get started on one POV and then they switch over. But I felt like in this book it was the perfect balance of like wanting to know what the other person was thinking and doing. So I really did enjoy it. This is The Road and Sleepy Girl. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it, and before that I actually got given, for Secret Santa from work, I got given The Night and the Morph, which I really, really enjoyed as well. I thought it was really good, and I'm really excited for the next book to come out this year. I think it's coming out May or June. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's kind of the time frame. But this is the Hula Benefit. I think it's just the original. It doesn't say, it's quite old, but I believe so. But yeah, I've read like a lot of romances as well. I read a lot of like cowboy. I did fall into that pattern of absolutely loving cowboy romances. So anything by, is it Elsie Silver? I'm so bad with names, but I think that's her name. I loved everything that she was doing. This was like 2 years ago that I read one of them. Well, not all of them. I think I read the Chestnut series. I think that's what it's called. And I thought that was brilliant. I just loved everything about it. I thought it was so fun. I think sometimes having read so many fantasy books and like having to think a lot of the time when you're like reading them, like in like building the world in your head, or you know, having to remember certain things, because I think with fantasy they're very like detail orientated. Like you need to like keep up with what's going on, obviously, otherwise it doesn't really make any sense. And I do like to space them out with some romance every now and then, because otherwise my brain kind of just gives up and then I can't pick up like a book ever again. Like I just go into like the fattest book slump known to man. So that is the Elf Brow Lift. And then I'm going to use a little milk setting you with that. I went and got my books, and this is like how far along I am in to my friend, so I'd say like halfway. And I think I really am enjoying it, and I think that reading this over listening to it, I preferred it this way, whereas with Project Hail Mary, yeah, about a third way through. I think they've got so many like measurements and scientific terms and so many like statistics and stuff. I feel like it would really overwhelm me, and I don't want to do that thing where like, because I've done it before, where I don't know what something means and I'm just like looking back at it and it's just gibberish. Like I don't actually fully understand what I've just read, and I'm prone to not searching it up. So but those are the current books that I'm finishing at the minute. But I'm gonna put the Wonder Skin Whimsical on. I usually use the, what's it called, a statue lip peel off one, but I've run out, so I've been kind of just doing the same that I would do with that one and just use it as like a lip liner instead. Good enough. But I thought I'd talk about the next books that I'm gonna try and read and listen to. I think, so I recently went to see my best friend in Brighton, and I got given this as a Christmas present, because we did Christmas presents quite late because we don't see each other very often. So she got me this 7-year slip, which I'm really excited to read, and I've heard great things. And one other person that I watch as much as I can, she doesn't post much anymore, but Hayley Pham, and she read this and she said it was just a 6-star read, and I feel like it's fantasy but not like crazy world building, which is like I think a nice thing for me to kind of read about, because I'm so used to like fays and dragons and like superpowers that I feel like I need to like go back down to earth a little bit, just to, for like the time being. And then I got Wild Dark Shore. I'm also gonna read this. I'm excited to read it. I've not really read many, if any, thrillers or horrors or anything in that sort of like mystery genre. Not sure why. I think they've always been quite scary to like read about, only because it's not a genre that I usually see myself interested in, so I've kind of just stayed away from it, even though like I've always wanted to read some, like especially like Frida McFadden's books. Like I've not read any of them, and I feel like they're so loved, especially now with like the Housemaid movie coming out. I feel like a lot of people are reading the book and they're reading all of her other stuff. Like a lot of my friends are reading her, like all of her books, constantly saying how good they are. So I thought I would kind of do something unrelated to it, and I've heard really good things about this. I literally saw somebody read this whilst I work yesterday. So, and I think that the blurb does it, like it just sounds really cool. It's about family on a remote island, and then a woman like washes up ashore, and like she doesn't know how she got there, and they don't understand how she could have gotten there. So it's a lot of like secrets, and yeah, sounds really interesting. Whereas I've also gotten The Wedding People. I feel like this is like kind of a long time coming. I've been wanting to read it for a while, but I've just not gone to grab it. I mean, they only came out last year, but I think a lot of the people that I've watched, or people that I know that also read, like kind of picked it up as soon as it came out, which is fair enough. So I've heard like good things for basically the whole year. But I think I'm going to listen to that one. I've got 1 credit on my Audible, so I think I'm going to give that one a listen and see if that's the way I want to go about it. But yeah, we're now going to cut my eyelashes. It's my sister's birthday, so I'm getting ready because I just wanted to go into town to get some bits and bobs. So I'm driving us in. And then we've got a dinner later. So I'm going to try and get some reading done at some point today. But I'm not going to pressure myself just because it's quite a busy day. There's a lot going on. So I'm using the Sky High and waterproof because I have such straight eyelashes. And then my best friend for Christmas as well got me the new, I think is it Maybelline? Yeah, the bubble mascara. That will do. So I usually let this one dry and then put this one on top. I'm back. I'm now going to use the bubble mascara. But yeah, this year I'm trying to listen to some books. I feel like I've never really paid much attention to audiobooks purely because I've always really enjoyed like sitting down and reading things. But I think recently I haven't had a lot of time and I've been getting myself really down for not being able to read my books, because I really do want to get them done, but I've just not had time. And I feel like I don't want to give up on the books because I am enjoying them, but I have such a short attention span that sometimes it feels like the easier thing to do when it isn't, because then I will want to eventually read it again and then I'll just be disappointed in myself that I have to restart it because I would have forgotten the whole thing. I'm gonna take one of the skin off. So that's why Project Hail Mary is the first one that I've listened to, because I don't know, I think I heard such good things about the audiobook, and so I was like, give it a go. And it was also on Spotify for free. And I didn't want to use a credit on Audible, which by the way isn't that great. I really like the lip stain, but I feel like it always leaves some sort of blue residue on my lips, and even no matter how much I scrub it off, but then if I scrub it off too much, then I have got no lip stain left on my face. I'm gonna do my hair. This is second day hair, I think, but just put a bit of dry shampoo in to make it not so flat. And then I need to, there you go. Just gonna brush it. Do that, and then I've only just recently recut a fringe, and I think it's definitely cute, but I've really forgotten how high maintenance it is, especially as my hair doesn't like to sit the way a fringe is meant to sit. It just likes to, if you can see, it just splits off where it's not even. I try to train it and it just doesn't listen to me. But what can I do? You should just do that. Put it from that side. And then I try to do it the other way, but I just can't, and I can't use my left hand to save. Oh no. See? I do it in the wrong directions all the time. I'm just gonna do it like that. That's okay. Not the greatest. Not the worst. I'm gonna blend that out. now that I'm done with my hair, I can now do the rest of my lips. And I'm using the Road lip liner in Balance, I think. I would double check, but everything's rubbed off of this one. And then I think I'm going to use the Road Lip Peptide in, I think this one's raspberry jelly. I think that's probably me done. But yeah, thank you for listening to me. I mean, I don't know, I'm really scared. I think this is like very much out of my comfort zone, and I really do find these so comforting. But I think when you actually put yourself in a position where you're the one doing it, all of a sudden it's terrifying, despite literally like not doing anything crazy. I mean, I'm literally just filming myself getting ready, and I feel like that's not that crazy. But yeah, this is what I look like. This is what I'm currently reading, and if I can say anything to you based off how far along I've gotten into both of these, I would say so far so good, and I would definitely recommend them just off the start of these. I would say that these are definitely books that you should read, especially this one. I think this is so well written, and I think it's such a good listen as well. It feels very like much like you're having a conversation, or like getting told everything. Like, it's very like, I don't know, it feels personal in some sort of way. The boyfriend has rewarded me with a Red Bull, which is definitely needed because I'm so tired. But yeah, I think this is such a good read. I think it really, I don't even know how to put it into words. It feels very storytelling, character driven. If you're not into reading about just like characters, not a lot of plot, like, and it's just like storytelling, I don't think this will be something that you particularly gravitate towards. I didn't really gravitate towards it to begin with because I haven't read this type of book in a very long time. Not since I really started reading again when I was like 15. But I just think it's such a extraordinary story so far, and I think that obviously I've still got half the book, and I know that this is going to make me cry. At some point in this I'm going to cry, because I feel so attached to the characters, and I feel like he explains how they're feeling and how like the stories that they're telling, or like the nostalgic like memories make them feel. And I think it's just so well written. This is it. I literally went to Waterstones and I got it before they even put it on the shelves. Like, I was like, I know you have it. It says on the app you have it. Give it to me. So this is definitely something that I want to finish this week, in the next couple of days. I'm enjoying it so much, but I think sometimes I'm just prone to like putting it off because it's like near the end-ish and I'm attached and I don't want to let them go. But yeah, and then I'm really excited for Wild Dark Shore. For some reason, I'm never like, I think I've just said, I just don't gravitate towards thrillers. But something about this sounds really interesting. It says, a family on a remote island, a mystery woman washed ashore, a storm gathering force. It's about a woman that washes ashore. The family kind of like takes care of her, and there's like a feeling of untruth. It's very much like, is she telling us the truth? Is she keeping things away? Like, is she not telling us, you know, everything? But then it's also like her point of view, I believe, where she's like realizing that maybe they're not so much of a sweet family. So I'm really excited, and it's fairly short. I think it's 300 pages. I feel like that's pretty good, but that could also, I think I've got a really weird perspective on like how long books are, because I'm just so used to reading like fantasy books. Like I read Alchemized not that long ago. I think literally when it came out, well, not when like Manacled came out, but when the published Alchemized came out, because I read Manacled when it also came out on like Wattpad. But let me just go get it so I can show you like what I mean, that my perspective is like wrong. This is Alchemized. Do you get what I mean? I feel like this, to me, hopefully it will be enticing enough that it will be a quick read, because this took me a little while. But I also decided to go against reading it on paper purely because I think this is like just intimidating to look at and to like read. It's a lot of like, it's very like thin pages, and it's a lot of writing, and it's just really long. Like even in a hardback, it's 1,000 pages, and that to me was very intimidating. And I knew that if I didn't read it on Kindle, I probably would have put it off for way too long, so I just read it on my Kindle, and I think that felt a lot easier. In terms of Andy Weir, I also want to read The Martian, because that's also meant to be really good, so I might do a little purchase and then give it to my boyfriend. He can read it, and then he can let me know whether I would like it based on how I feel about this by the end of it, which I already know that I'm gonna like it, so I imagine if he likes The Martian, then I will also like. But yeah, this has been scary. That is literally all I can say. I felt already more comfortable, but maybe that's just because I kind of gotten over myself. But I'm gonna have to like edit this and figure out how to do that, because I have no idea. So this is very much like a test video, and if it ends up good or good enough even, this is going on YouTube, and it's gonna be part of my digital footprint forever. Yeah, well, thank you for watching, or for not watching, or for subscribing, or for not subscribing. I have no idea how this works, but thank you for coming along with me whilst I very timidly spoke about some books, probably speaking gibberish most of the time because I can't get my thoughts across when I'm nervous. But yeah, thank you for being part of this experience for me, and hopefully better and more will come out of this. But yeah, thank you, and see you next time, I guess. Maybe.